The stars went dark one by one. Not because they died, but because someone turned them off. And when the darkness reached Sol, humanity finally understood. The galaxy was at war, and we were next. It began with a whisper. Radio telescopes across Earth's night side caught a signal that shouldn't exist. Structured, rhythmic, alien. SETI called it the Lament of Andromeda. It lasted 11 seconds. By the time anyone decoded it, half the outer colonies had gone silent. Captain Rourke stood inside the observation dome of the Dauntless, humanity's largest deep space defense carrier, staring into the black void where Jupiter should have been visible. There was only nothing, an abyss swallowing light itself. "Are we still blind?" he asked, voice low, roughened by weeks without sleep. "Completely," replied Commander Chen. "The blackout field is expanding. All comm relays beyond Mars are dead. We've lost contact with Titan Station." Rourke exhaled slowly, the kind of breath that carries the weight of a dying civilization. "Then we hold the line here," he said, "until someone tells us otherwise." But no one did. Earth Command was silent. The network gone. It wasn't just an invasion, it was an erasure. Something vast and ancient had entered the solar system, cloaked in artificial gravity fields so dense they crushed photons. When the first object emerged, it wasn't a fleet, it was a shadow. A crescent of moving void that devoured sunlight, shape-shifting like liquid metal. Humanity had prepared for invasion, but not for the absence. That's what soldiers called them, because no radar, no sensor, no weapon could confirm they even existed. The first strike came without sound. Luna Base vanished. No explosion, no debris, just gone. 1 second it was there, the next, space folded and ate it whole. By hour 6, panic rippled through the colonies. Civilians evacuated to Earth's surface bunkers while the orbital fleets formed the Aegis Line. The last transmission from Admiral Singh echoed across all emergency channels. "If they come for us, remember, humans don't bow. We burn." Inside the Dauntless, Rourke's crew loaded the prototype Prometheus array, a weapon powered by the sun's magnetic field. It was humanity's desperate answer to the unknown. The science division had warned him. It could ignite half the system if misfired. Rourke's reply was simple. "Then we make sure it hits." The crew worked in silence. No music, no chatter, just the hum of reactors and the distant thrum of fear. Soldiers glanced at photos taped inside their helmets. Families, oceans, home. When the blackout reached Earth orbit, the stars were gone. It was as if the entire universe had turned its back on humanity. Then, a voice broke through the static. "Not alien. Human. To any fleet receiving this is Aurora Base. We're alive. We've seen them. They aren't gods. They bleed." Every head snapped toward the comms station. Rourke's eyes narrowed. "Trace that signal. It's coming from Neptune's shadow," Chen said, voice trembling. "That's impossible. No human station could survive there." Rourke straightened, shoulders squaring under the weight of command. "Set course for the dark side of Neptune." A chorus of "Aye, sir," rang through the bridge. Engines roared. The Dauntless turned toward the black edge of the solar system, the place where light went to die. Hours passed. The ship's hull groaned as gravitational distortions clawed at it. Then, from the darkness, they saw it. A shattered planet-sized ring station, floating amid debris and lightning storms. Thousands of alien vessels, black, mirror-slick, hung in orbit around it. In the middle, something massive pulsed red, like a heart beating in the dark. Chen whispered, "My God! It's a birthing world." Rourke's gaze hardened. "Then we stop the birth." He turned to the weapons officer. "Arm the array. Full charge." The ship trembled as solar energy funneled through superconductive conduits. The Prometheus array glowed white-hot, brighter than dawn. For a moment, it was as if a piece of the sun had been caged inside human hands. But before they could fire, the shadow moved. The entire fleet turned and looked back. Thousands of eyes of shifting plasma blinked open across the alien ships, focusing on the Dauntless. They see us, Chen said. Rourke gave a grim smile. Good. The array fired. And for the first time in recorded galactic history, the darkness screamed. The light from the Prometheus array tore across the void like a newborn sun, and the shadows screamed. Every alien ship convulsed as if in pain, their hulls fracturing like glass under the force of pure stellar fire. Captain Rourke stood anchored to the command rail as the Dauntless shuddered from recoil. The bridge was drenched in golden light. Radiation shields strained, alarms blared, and yet no one moved to look away. They were watching humanity's defiance painted across the stars. Commander Chen's voice cracked through the chaos. Direct hit! Multiple enemy structures collapsing. The core field, it's destabilizing. The holographic display bloomed with collapsing points of light as one after another, alien ships imploded. The gravitational lattice around Neptune disintegrated, scattering debris and molten fragments into the storm. Rourke's jaw tightened. Status on Aurora base? Still broadcasting, Chen replied, relief in her voice. Patch it through. Static hissed, then a voice, tired, strained, unmistakably human. Dauntless, you mad bastards actually did it. You hurt them. Rourke's chest tightened. Identify yourself. Commander Darius Vale, United Earth Recon Division. We've been stuck here 3 weeks inside their construct. They weren't expecting us to survive the atmospheric fold. What are we looking at down there, Vale? A manufacturing womb. The absence breeds ships inside living matter. They grow them, Captain. And that pulse you hit? That was their gestation core. You pissed them off, bad. Before Rourke could reply, the entire ship bucked violently. The lights flickered, then died. A deep rumble rolled through the hull, followed by the sound of distant screaming metal. Chen gripped the console. Gravitational anomaly inbound. It's pulling us toward the station remains. Rourke barked. Full reverse thrust. Divert all auxiliary power to stabilizers. But it was no use. The shattered alien structure wasn't dying, it was transforming. From the fragments of its own corpse, it reformed, reshaped, folding inward like origami made of nightmares. A colossal humanoid shape emerged, hundreds of kilometers tall, stitched from the remains of its fleet. Its form pulsed with red energy, and a voice, not heard but felt, rippled through every human mind within range. You burn bright, but light always dies. Crew members clutched their heads, screaming as their thoughts flooded with images, oceans boiling, cities burning, humanity erased. The alien intelligence wasn't communicating, it was invading their perception. Rourke's vision blurred, but rage anchored him. Chen, fire the array again. It's still cooling. Another discharge will rupture the core. Then rupture it. Rourke roared. Better a dead ship than a silent Earth. The crew hesitated, but humanity's curse is that hesitation never lasts long when extinction is near. The array began to charge once more, the ship groaning under the strain. Superheated plasma crawled along the barrel, sparks dancing across the bridge. But then, something miraculous happened. On the outer display, dozens of new energy signatures appeared. Tiny human ships bursting out of the darkness, engines flaring blue. Aurora Base wasn't just alive, it had built a fleet. This is Commander Vale. You're not dying alone, Dauntless. Humanity's exiled engineers and soldiers, survivors of the blackout, had cobbled together warships from alien wreckage, blending stolen technology with raw human will. They opened fire. Missiles streaked like shooting stars across the void, hammering the Titan's chest. Alien flesh split, energy screamed, and the humanoid form staggered. Dauntless, now! Vale shouted. Rourke slammed his hand down. Fire! The array discharged. A spear of solar fury lanced through the void and struck the alien core. For a heartbeat, everything was silent, then the world exploded. Radiation swept through the system, burning out sensors, comms, even stars. The humanoid Titan shattered into a billion shards, dissolving into space like embers in the wind. Silence. Chen gasped. It's over. But Rourke shook his head. No. Look! From the wreckage of the absence, filaments of energy began drifting, thin, invisible strands drawn toward the sun. Chen frowned. What the hell are they doing? Rourke didn't answer. His gut twisted with an old instinct every soldier knows, the calm that comes right before the next storm. The sun began to dim. Back on Earth, telescopes recorded what they thought was impossible, solar output dropping by 0.05% every second. The sun's corona twisted as if something was feeding on it. Across the world, skywatchers saw the daylight flicker. People looked up and prayed, some for gods, others for deliverance. In orbit, emergency transmissions screamed across what little of the human network remained. They're draining the sun! Global cooling predicted within hours. Civilian bunkers failing, heat loss accelerating. On the Dauntless, chaos erupted. Sir, solar intake collapsing. Our weapons offline. Power levels dropping. Gravity field unstable. The ship trembled as energy flickered across its hull, the once bright human fleet now surrounded by growing darkness. Chen turned to Rourke, pale. If they take the sun. He met her eyes, voice steady despite the terror clawing at his chest. Then we take it back. As the solar system dimmed into twilight, the first human transmission echoed across every remaining frequency. This is Earth Command. Operation Dawnfire is approved. Humanity is going to war for its star. The sun was dying, and humanity decided to set it on fire. Operation Dawnfire wasn't a mission. It was a promise written in plasma and blood. If the gods come for our light, we'll burn them with it. The solar system hung under an eerie dimness. The once golden glow of Sol was now a pale ember, its surface crawling with alien filaments, like parasites siphoning its soul. Earth's temperature had dropped by 15 degrees in under a day. Oceans steamed under ice fog. Cities flickered in rolling blackouts. The galactic absence had no fleets left, no voices to speak, but their revenge was simple: starve the cradle of humanity. Inside the command core of the Dauntless, Captain Rourke stood before a war council projected in holographic form. All surviving admirals, scientists, and fleet commanders flickered around him, ghosts of a dying era. Admiral Singh's image crackled through static. If we do nothing, we freeze. If we fight, we burn. Pick your extinction. Rourke leaned forward. We fight. And we take the fight into the sun itself. The room went silent. Chen broke it first. You're suggesting we enter the corona? Not enter, Rourke said. Detonate. He tapped the console, and the holographic map of Sol expanded, showing the new alien energy veins threading through it. They've built a siphon network anchored in solar orbit. If we overload it with antimatter and magneton collapse charges, we can cut them off and reignite the core. One of the scientists blinked. Captain, that would take more energy than the array itself. It's suicide. Rourke gave a grim smile. It's humanity. 12 hours later. The fleet assembled near Mercury's orbit, the last bastion before the solar inferno. Hundreds of ships, patched together from wrecks and desperation, lined up in silent formation. The fleet bore names like Endurance, Hope, Vengeance, and Memorial. Every name was a wound. Every hull a tombstone. Rourke looked at them from the bridge viewport and whispered, They came to take our light. Let's show them what fire means. Commander Chen saluted. All squadrons report ready. The Dawnfire payload is armed and synchronized. We go in on your word. Rourke nodded. Then light the path. The fleet engines ignited in unison, streaking toward the sun. Space rippled with fusion trails and defiance. From Earth, the sight of hundreds of burning ships diving toward the dimming star became a symbol broadcast across every remaining screen. Children pointed skyward. Soldiers saluted. And for the first time since the blackout, humanity looked up again, not in fear, but in pride. As the Dauntless entered the corona, the alien infection became visible. Dark tendrils burrowed through solar plasma, pulsing with stolen energy. The void things had made the sun bleed. Target locks acquired, Chen said, sweat beating down her temple. We're inside the extraction field. Radiation at lethal levels. Noted, Rourke said. All ships, execute pattern Sigma. Hit their anchors one by one. Missiles screamed into the solar chaos. Each explosion flared brighter than dawn, tearing through the tendrils. The sun responded like a wounded beast, arcs of fire leaping thousands of kilometers into space. But the absence wasn't done. From the solar depths, shapes began to rise, serpentine constructs of liquid black metal, their bodies woven from gravity itself. They coiled through plasma storms, mouths opening into impossible geometry. They're defending the siphon routes, Chen shouted. Rourke gritted his teeth. Then cut deeper. The Dauntless dove straight into the storm. Energy shields melted under the heat. Hull plating liquefied. But the ship held course, slicing through plasma waves as its crew roared with the fury of their species. Through the chaos, Rourke's calm crackled. Dauntless, this is Aurora. We're in position. Deploying the Dawnfire core now. A massive sphere, glowing with antimatter containment fields, launched from Aurora Base's hangar, a miniature star forged by human hands. Core armed, said Chen. Detonation in 2 minutes. Rourke nodded. All ships, fall back to safe distance. But before they could, one of the alien serpents slammed into the Dauntless, wrapping it in shadow and gravity. Hull integrity warnings screamed. Metal screamed. We're caught! Chen yelled. Rourke looked at the view screen, saw the black creature's form writhing across the bow, tendrils piercing the armor. Then, in its reflection, he saw something else, the sun's fading heart. Chen, he said softly. Divert power from the shields. She stared at him. What? That'll cook us alive. Do it. She hesitated. Elias. Rourke looked her in the eyes, a sad smile forming. You said once humanity burns brightest when cornered. Let's prove it. The ship's shields dropped. The solar plasma poured in. The alien serpent screamed as fire consumed it. For a brief, blinding moment, the Dauntless became a star itself, fusing courage and fury into light. The last transmission from Rourke was broadcast fleet-wide. Tell Earth, it wasn't the gods who lit the heavens. It was us. The Dawnfire core detonated. A shockwave rippled through the sun's corona, igniting the stalled fusion layer. The alien siphons shattered. The filaments disintegrated. The serpents burned away in silence. The sun roared back to life. Solar winds lashed out with renewed brilliance, and the fleet was flung clear, scorched and broken, but alive. On Earth, dawn returned. The skies blazed gold again, and for the first time in days, humanity felt warmth. Commander Chen, bruised and bloodied, stared at the empty space where the Dauntless had been. He did it, she whispered. He actually did it. Vale's voice came through the static. The captain bought us a sunrise. Chen straightened, eyes gleaming through tears. Then we finish what he started. She turned to her crew. Signal Earth Command. The sun's ours again. But I want every scanner pointed outward. The absence wasn't born here, Sam. As the fleet turned homeward through the blazing light, deep beyond the edge of the solar system, something vast and cold opened its eyes. The sun was reborn. But something in the dark had noticed. The absence hadn't been the enemy. They'd been the harbinger. 3 weeks after the Dawnfire detonation, the solar system pulsed with new life. The sun burned hotter than ever, its flare patterns resonating with the rhythm of victory. Humanity, scarred, limping, unbroken, stood on the edge of an impossible future. Across Earth's cities, people filled the streets under blue skies that once again felt endless. From Luna to Mars, survivors transmitted a single message across every channel. Humanity endures. Commander Isla Chen, now in command of the rebuilt Dauntless II, watched the sunrise from orbit. Her hands rested on the same rail Rourke once held, burnished now with his name engraved into it. She whispered, "You bought us this light, Captain. Now we'll keep it burning." But the peace didn't last. It began with a tremor, tiny fluctuations in deep space telemetry. The kind scientists dismiss as static. But the readings kept repeating, growing stronger, coming from beyond the Kuiper belt. Then, on the 47th day after the detonation, the signal arrived. It wasn't a transmission. It was a heartbeat. A rhythmic pulse, low, ancient, cold, that rippled through space and bent light itself. Every listening array on Earth screamed with overload. Chen stood in the command center, watching the holographic display of the outer system distort. "Report!" The science officer's face went pale. "Ma'am, something's moving out there. Mass readings off the scale. Whatever it is, it's bigger than Jupiter, and it's coming this way." At first, they thought it was a rogue planet. But then the planet unfolded. The object split into sections, massive petals of obsidian metal kilometers wide, revealing an interior core of living light. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a world. It was both. And when it spoke, the universe seemed to bow. "You burned my children." The words vibrated through hulls, through atoms, through minds. Entire comm networks fried from the resonance. Earth's gravity fluctuated for 0.7 seconds, just enough to remind everyone that something out there could crush planets like fruit. Chen clenched her jaw. So the absence wasn't invading, they were building a path for this. Vale's voice crackled through the fleet channel. "You mean, it's their god?" "Not a god," Chen said coldly. "Just another bully in the dark." Operation Aegis was declared, the largest mobilization in human history. Every surviving ship, every drone, every fragment of weaponry was called to arms. Humanity's new battle doctrine was simple: no retreat. No mercy. No extinction. The cold god, as soldiers started calling it, entered the outer solar system like an eclipse with teeth. Its gravitational field distorted Neptune into an oval. Jupiter's storms froze mid-rotation. Then came the attack. From its open core, it released tendrils of frozen light that sliced through space like razors. Each beam crystallized whatever it touched: matter, energy, time. The first wave of human ships was shredded before they even fired. "Line Alpha, down!" Vale shouted. "We can't penetrate its core." Chen stared at the display, then said softly, "Then we don't aim for its core." In the weapons bay of Dauntless 2, engineers armed the final legacy of Captain Rourke, Project Phoenix. A weapon not of destruction, but transformation. It used the same Prometheus technology that had reignited the sun, compressed solar plasma bound within a quantum detonation sphere. If detonated inside a gravitational well, it could collapse a god. "Target its heart chamber," Chen ordered. "All surviving ships form a vector line. Draw its attention. We're going in." Vale's laugh came through the calm. "I was wondering when humanity would do something suicidal again." The fleet surged forward through the darkness. Alien beams sliced through them, turning entire cruisers into frozen sculptures. But still they advanced, cutting through the void like sparks against night. Dauntless 2 tore through debris and fire, shields collapsing, armor melting. Chen gripped the helm as the colossal being loomed ahead, its core pulsing like a dying star. A voice filled her mind once more, deep, mocking, infinite. "You are small. You are temporary," Chen whispered back. "So is every storm before the dawn." She pushed the throttle to maximum and dove straight into the creature's chest. The ship's hull screamed as it breached the inner gravity field. Systems failed one by one. Flames crawled along the walls, and oxygen alarms shrieked. But the crew didn't stop. They sang. Not words of prayer or despair, old songs from Earth. Songs about oceans and rain and sunrise. Songs that told the universe what it meant to be human. Chen reached the detonation control and placed her hand on the final key. "For Rourke. For Earth. For the fire." She turned the key. "Project Phoenix, ignite." The detonation tore through space-time. A white sphere of solar plasma expanded from the ship's core, fusing with the cold god's light and unraveling its geometry. The creature's body collapsed inward, folding through its own dimensions. Before it vanished, the alien voice whispered one last time. "Fire, the only thing you ever learned." And then it was gone. Silence returned. When the radiation cleared, the Dauntless 2 was gone. The fleet drifted, scarred and battered, but alive. The sun burned brighter than ever before, flaring in colors humanity had never seen. Earth received the final transmission hours later, a simple video feed from Chen's bridge. Her last words echoed across every network, every heart, every colony. If you're hearing this, humanity stands. We may be small. We may bleed. But when the dark comes for our light, we rise. Epilogue. The Age of Fire. 50 years later, a new monument stood on Mars. Two figures cast in bronze, Captain Rourke and Commander Chen, facing the sun. Engraved beneath them were the words found in Chen's final log. We were born from a spark. We became the fire. And the stars will remember. The galaxy would never forget the day Earth's children stood against the void. And humanity rose.